Hey guys, welcome to this video lecture series on the subject of energy technology. I'm Harsh Panchal, Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering Department of LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Here in this video, we are going to start the new chapter in the segment of non-conventional source of energy. This non-conventional source of energy is widely available and is known as solar energy. Well, we have already understand in our introduction part, energy means it is an ability or capacity of an object to do some sort of work or to produce some kind of change. So, whenever there is a change involved, there must be an energy involved. Solar means the sun. So, if we combine both the word, it becomes solar energy, which means the energy of sun. Now, we already know that the sun is the very massive and flamey sphere of hot gases. It is around 333,000 times larger than the earth's surface. The diameter of sun is around 1.39 into 10 raised to 6 kilometers. While the distance between earth's surface and the sun is around 1.5 into 10 raised to 8 kilometers. Well, the temperature inside the sun core is around 15 million degrees Celsius. And that of at the surface of the sun, the temperature is around 5,505 degrees Celsius. So, one natural question is arised that where does this sun get its energy from? Well, sun gets its energy inside the core, where continuous nuclear fusion reaction is being carried out. So, because of this nuclear fusion reaction, sun holds the huge amount of energy. And we can say that the sun is the ultimate source of energy for the planet Earth. This part of energy generated by sun is received by the Earth. And this solar energy is the main reason behind the food and different vegetables. So, all the vegetable and plant material is produced because of photosynthesis reaction, which is only possible in the presence of sunlight. Not only that, we have understand in the wind energy chapter that wind is the indirect form of solar energy. So, basically solar energy causes the wind current and flow the wind from one particular point or one particular area to the another area. And the fossil fuel generated in the earth crust is also indirect form of this solar energy only. Because these fossil fuel are nothing but they are vegetable and plant material that get buried inside the earth crust over billion of years. So, we can say that the solar energy is the ultimate source of energy for the planet Earth, either in the form of wind energy or biomass or the ocean energy. So, as we have already seen, the part of the solar energy is being received by the earth's surface. Well, the amount of energy received in a unit time on the unit area of earth's atmosphere is known as the solar constant. So, this definition of solar constant is particularly very important for the exam point of view. It has been noticed that this definition has been asked for many times in the university exam. So, what does this solar constant means? Well, it is nothing but amount of solar energy received by the earth atmosphere per unit meter square of the area. So, here in the image you can see that every meter square of earth's atmosphere is receiving approximately slightly less than 1.4 kilowatt per meter square of the solar energy. So, this value 1.4 kilowatt per meter square is known as the solar constant. So, we can define solar constant as the amount of energy received in a unit time on the unit area of earth atmosphere is known as solar constant, and its value is around 1.4 kilowatt per meter square. Well, this 1.4 kilowatt per meter square is equivalent to run an 25-inch LED TV. meaning that we can run the 25-inch LED TV on the every meter square of the earth surface. So that now you can understand how much amount of energy is being received by the earth in the form of solar energy. Well, we can always utilize this solar energy into more useful form of energy, such as electricity, or maybe heat energy, or maybe kinetic energy. But in order to convert this solar energy, what we will be needing is the technology. So throughout this chapter, we are going to understand different technology by which we can convert this solar energy into more useful form of energy, such as heat energy, kinetic energy, or electrical energy. Well, you might wonder how this solar energy reaches the earth's surface. So now let's understand how this solar energy reaches the earth's surface. Well, the sunlight is reaching the earth's surface in the form of electromagnetic wave. So the light always travel in the form of electromagnetic wave. Hence, this solar energy is also travel in the form of electromagnetic wave. So this wavelength of electromagnetic wave is in the range of 0.2 micrometer to 4 micrometer. Well, in the heat transfer subject, we have understand this wind displacement law, as lambda, which is nothing but the wavelength, is indirectly proportional to temperature. So we can say that lambda is proportional to 1 upon T. That means an object which has higher temperature, such as sun, will emit radiation in the form of shorter wavelength. As the temperature of sun is around 5000 degrees Celsius, hence it will emit the radiation of the shorter wavelength. This is why the range of this electromagnetic wave is in the range of 0.2 micrometer to 4 micrometer. Here in the image, you can see that the complete spectrum of all the solar energy received by the earth's surface. So this can be divided into three parts. The first one is the ultraviolet wave, which is in the range of 0 micrometer to 0.4 micrometer, which is then followed by visible range, which is in the range of 0.4 micrometer to 0.7 micrometer. And the above 0.7 micrometer wavelength are known as infrared rays. So mainly this solar energy reaches the earth's surface has three different forms. One is ultraviolet wave, the second one is the visible range, and lastly there is infrared. Well, the solar energy reaching the earth's surface has around 7% of ultraviolet waves, which is also known as the shorter wave, since its wavelength is only from 0 micrometer to 0.7 micrometer. The next one is around 44% of total solar radiation fall in the range of visible rays. This visible ray we also known as the light energy. It is in the range of 0.4 micrometer to 0.7 micrometer. Then lastly, around 49% of total solar radiation is being in the form of the infrared rays. These infrared rays are also known as heat energy, which is also known as the longer wavelength, and it is in the range of 0.7 micrometer to 2 micrometer. So this is what all about the solar energy reaching the earth's surface. Well, now understand what are the different type of solar radiation. Well, when this solar radiation travels in the earth atmosphere, which is basically made up of different water vapor, clouds, dust particle and gas particles. So when this solar radiation travels from this earth atmosphere, some part of it is being discarded by different dust particles, while some part of this solar radiation is being absorbed by the water vapor and clouds, while some part of the radiation is being reflected by the different gases that are present in the earth atmosphere, such as carbon dioxide and different SOx and NOx. So this is what defines the two different type of solar radiation. Here in the image, you can see that the energy received from the Earth's surface is being reflected by the clouds, or some part of the total solar energy is being absorbed by the different water molecules or water vapors, and it is being discarded by the different gas particle and dust particle that are present in the Earth atmosphere. So based on that, we have two different type of radiation. First is the direct radiation, which also known as the beam radiation. Well, the radiation that has not been absorbed or scattered and reaches the ground directly from the sun is known as beam radiation. So here in the image, you can see that around 49% of total solar energy is being received by the Earth's surface directly. That means this solar radiation is not being absorbed or reflected, or it not be discarded or scattered by the different objects that are present in the Earth atmosphere, such as the water particle, dust particle and different gases. So this kind of radiation is known as the beam radiation. While the second type of the radiation is the diffused radiation. So here in the image, you can see that around 51% of total radiation is being reflected, or it has been absorbed by the cloud particles or the different dust particle and gases present in the Earth atmosphere. And this solar radiation is being received by the Earth after its direction has been changed, or it is scattered by such objects that are present in the Earth atmosphere. This kind of the solar radiation is known as the diffused radiation. So radiation received from the sun after its direction has been changed by the reflection and scattering by the atmosphere is known as the diffused radiation. Around 51% of total radiation is known as diffused radiation. So this concludes the introduction to the solar energy. We will see some of the equipment that are used for the measurement of solar energy, and then we will see different storage material that are used for the solar energy. We will see you in the next video. Till then, keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.